What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles. I hope you enjoyed Monday's vlog where I reviewed NXT Takeover in your NXT in your house. I gotta quit saying NXT Takeover because it isn't NXT Takeover anymore. It's NXT in your house. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. But today, to continue my week of vlogging, I want to get into the other pay-per-view that happened over the weekend, which was WWE Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell took place Sunday night. As I'm recording this, it is Tuesday. So we are going to talk about what happened this past Sunday night at Hell in a Cell. First up, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, and Asuka got it on a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka, after Asuka returning to pay-per-view for the first time in 9 months, and big time Becky Lynch earning her way into the matchup by defeating Asuka after being given a second chance when she lost to her the first time. So that's how the triple threat match came about. It was a great opener, great back and forth match, and Bianca Belair ended up getting the win over Asuka after Becky Lynch hit Asuka with a high impact maneuver. And Bianca Belair snuck in there and got the pin. And Becky Lynch was visibly upset due to the fact that she was beaten at her own game of sorts. So shout out to Bianca Belair for keeping the Raw Women's Championship intact. Well, her Raw Women's Championship reign intact, I should say. Next up, you had Bobby Lashley taking on MVP and Omos in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Shortly before the match, Cedric Alexander, I was about to say Cedric the Entertainer, Cedric Alexander came up to Bobby Lashley and asked him if he could help out Bobby during the match against MVP and Omos, and Bobby respectfully declined his help and went out there on his own and did his thing. Bobby Lashley got the victory after he got MVP to tap out to the Hurt Lock. So yeah, hopefully that rivalry is done. I hope MVP could actually get back to some one-on-one action because he's a very, very underrated wrestler. So I would love to see him get back to one-on-one action. Next up, you had Happy Corbin taking on Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss again in a no-holds-barred match. Madcap Moss is also another very underrated talent in WWE. He ended up defeating Happy Corbin with the punchline after a very back and forth hard fought match. Then you had Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, and AJ Styles taking on Judgment Day, which was Damian Priest, Edge, and Rhea Ripley. Judgment Day ended up getting the win over the AJ Styles faction. I love Judgment Day. I'm a big fan of all three of them. Big fan of Damian Priest, big fan of Rhea Ripley, and definitely a big fan of Edge. Massive props because Edge keeps reinventing himself time and time again, and that's what you have to do if you want to stay relevant in the wrestling business. Gotta reinvent yourself, and Edge has certainly done just that. Then you had let's see what else. Oh, you had Mustafa Ali taking on Theory for the United States Championship. Very, very big reaction for Mustafa Ali in his hometown of Chicago. But unfortunately, he did not get the win over Theory. Theory is a very, very great young talent, and his career is there's nowhere to go but up for a Theory. And when you have Vince McMahon backing you, you definitely got the ball in your corner. So major props to Theory for getting the job done against Mustafa Ali, another very, very underrated talent, grossly misused in WWE. But what can you do? You got to take what's given to you. And then in the main event, for a gimmick pay per view, Hell in a Cell, and only having one Hell in a Cell match, I feel was very, very oh no, not actually. Wait, we're forgetting one more match before the main event. Let me backtrack a little bit. I'm sorry. You had Kevin Owens taking on Ezekiel. Real funny storyline there. Kevin Owens is he's saying that Ezekiel is actually Elias, and the commentary people and commentary people are in on the joke and saying that it's not Elias, that it is indeed Elias' younger brother. And that's kind of the gimmick that they gave Elias, for his repackaging. But no, Kevin Owens picked up the win after using the Stone Cold Stunner, and hopefully, that rivalry is over and Kevin Owens can move on to some bigger and better thing. We'd love to see him have another run with the United States, or it's a long shot, but the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Yay. Let's see what happens there. But okay, now on to your main event. Seth Rollins taking on Cody Rhodes inside Hell in a Cell, which was the only Hell in a Cell match at the pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. Back in the day when these gimmick pay-per-views first started, you had at least maybe 2, maybe even 3 matches inside Hell in a Cell, but there was only one due to the card being short. Yeah, so it was Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes concluding their trilogy inside Hell in a Cell, and wow, let me just say that Cody Rhodes has a lot of skeptics for the way that he jumped ship from AEW to WWE. I hear it all the time in the wrestling group that I run. Why would he leave AEW? He was in such a comfortable position there. But you heard Cody Rhodes say, man, it's not about, it wasn't about money like a lot of people thought, or maybe it was a little bit, but not as much as people thought. And it was more about fulfilling what his father Dusty couldn't do, and that is win the WWE World Championship. So that is his primary motivation for returning to WWE, which you have to respect. Like I said, he's gonna have his critics out there, and my co-host Dave is one of them. But for what he did tonight, man, I will forever respect Cody, because going into this match, he was training, and rumors started going around that he had injured himself. I mean, he was supposed to wrestle on the main event of a house show on Saturday night, and didn't end up doing it because it was announced his injury was first announced. They didn't know what the injury was, and speculation today was going around that he had an injury, but they couldn't confirm it up until the last minute. And then lo and behold, a couple of hours before Hell in a Cell, they confirmed that he had a torn pectoral muscle. Now, I've known plenty of wrestlers that have suffered that. I personally have not, but it is very very painful from the people that I have talked to. You lose a lot of you lose feeling in your arm and shoulder. Your chest gets discolored, and it's nasty. It's real gruesome. But it usually requires 4 to 6 weeks recovery, and depending on how well you heal from the injury, could be a little longer. But hopefully Cody has a speedy recovery and gets that taken care of. But he actually wrestled a 25-minute match with Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell and got the victory, no less, with a series of crossroads, which is his finishing move. He only using one good arm and gutting through pain like that. I will forever respect Cody. I've wrestled, so I definitely know what it is. You're beat up every night, and you still got to go out there and entertain the people, no matter how beat up you are. But I have no clue how Cody was able to work with a torn pectoral muscle, and why WWE would let him work like that. But you know what? That's Cody for you. He wanted to entertain the people and give them what they want. Didn't want to deprive them of a main event, and I will forever respect him for that. So shout out to Cody and speedy recovery on that. But yeah, all in all, it was a good show for not having any of the top champions there. The Usos weren't there. They're the unified WWE Tag Team Champions, and Roman Reigns didn't wrestle. He's the WWE Universal Champion, as I alluded to earlier. So it was pretty good for what they had. So let's see what happens afterwards. You got Money in the Bank coming up, which should be interesting. Money in the Bank qualifiers are probably going to start sometime in the near future. So let's see what happens there. But for right now, that's gonna wrap this one up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. Peace.